Alrighty, it's time for the second review for the playthrough. So tonight we'll be on Turf Wars and on what's third? Silver Lining is the review with a little bit of mentioning in the heist in comparison to the other two. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching on Twitch, comment, follow, and subscribe if you want to. I live stream Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. We do playthroughs. We do a review at the end of every playthrough, just like this one's a continuation playthrough review. You can go check out the others. I play the main game, and now I'm going through the DLC. There should be a playlist on YouTube and on Twitch if you want to check there. So let's just get into it. If you watch the heist playthrough review with a little bit of Turf War, you'll know I liked it very much. But the reason why I do this every day is in games, sometimes things change over time. And something changed over time here, and I can honestly say I hate the DLC now. I'm not enjoying it. It has been done very, very wrong. And I think a very malicious move was made by Insomniac here to make the game feel more full by making it extremely difficult and extremely tedious. Now, in the heist review, I mentioned a lot about the fighting and how smooth it is, and, you know, I compared it to things like God of War and everything, of how just, like, those games do things where, you know, you swing a heavy swing and then it causes you to pause for a brief moment, and then, you know, you're easily hit by things, and, you know, it's a matter of fighting against the fighting mechanics to be able to win. Whereas in this, everything is smooth and fast and, you know, very fluid. Like, you're fighting off so many people, and it doesn't matter because you are a superhero. You are SpiderMan. You know, you have Spidey senses. You hit harder. You could take more hits. You know, you could walk on walls, jump off them. You got all these different abilities, and it should feel like you are a superhero. So now in this, towards the end of Turf War, you start seeing more characters that kind of stop that fluidity that I've been mentioning from the first DLC, and especially from the main game. You have these characters with a shield that dash at you and leave a line behind them for way too long, and there's way too many of them. Like, you'll have upwards of 3, 4 of them, all, you know, sliding at you in different timing quite often. And then while those guys are there, you get a big guy with a freaking automatic, you know, rotation minigun or whatever it is, just going, and it does it in a line, but it's not dodgeable. It's not dodgeable, so you're having to use items just out in the world to either block it or just take the hit, or, you know, maybe hopefully be able to jump up over it if it goes across straight. But there's nothing that really is telling you which way it's going, so you don't know if he's going straight up with his attack, you know, because he can hit you from anywhere. As long as you're visible, he's hitting you. You know, so you don't know if he's going straight up with it. You don't know if he's going across with it. It's like, and you hit the dodge button at the right timing, and even at perfect dodge moments, and you still get hit. And on top of that, it's doing a quarter or more of your health each time it hits. So you're having to just heal up so much because you got shield guys dashing at you, leaving a line behind them that if you step in it, it stops you from being able to use your gadgets, for one thing, and your webs, so you're kind of grounded, you know. But if you dodge him and dodge forward, like flip over him, you're going right on that stuff, so you're kind of screwed. And then if you dodge to the side, but there also happens to be an enemy there, you quite often will auto-target the enemy standing on that's not taking damage from that, and you've now stepped in it and you're taking damage, you know. And then those guys too, if you go up to those shield guys and dash under them, you get a few hits, but then all of a sudden they'll do a shield bash, and you're usually getting, you know, dashed at by another one of them. So you really don't have any time for anything in the fighting. And just taking one swing at an enemy feels like you're fighting against the fighting, because now you've taken a swing at someone, now you've got another dude dashing in and then stopping you from using your gadgets. The only thing that could hopefully stop these guys from just dash bashing you one at a time, then you've got the minigun guy to the side, one or more of them shooting at you, and then on top of that, you got guys shooting rockets at you, that are happening so fast, you literally have a split second to hit L1, R1 before you can't, throw it back at everybody. So you end up just dodging that, because you don't even have time, because you're also dodging the dashing shield guys, the guy with the minigun, the rockets coming in from 2 or more targets quite often, and then on top of that, you got guys with batons that you don't even have time to hit the triangle button to disarm the baton guy or knock him up into the air, which is kind of like the only way to really do damage on him, because even if you dash under him, he turns fast enough to then be able to block your hits again. And so the only way to really hit him is either knock him up or use gadgets or other means, like disarming him, But that takes a while. You have to hold the button, and then it hits him with the web, and then the pull animation. And, once it's pulled, you're good. But in that time, you've got the 2 to 4 dashing shields, the guy with the minigun, multiple characters with rockets, a whole bunch of other characters with automatic laser rifles that don't miss, and it's just too much. It's not fun. It's not balanced. The game that I talked throughout the whole main game, and the first DLC, The Heist, about how much fun the fighting is, has done a complete 180, just because it's very clear to me, as these DLCs were made, that the quality of the content getting put into it and the quality of the work getting put into it being allowed of the devs to make has gone downhill. So in a way, to make the game longer so people feel like, well, that took me like 15 hours to complete, you can't say, oh, there wasn't enough content there. But then you don't realize, well, it took me like 6, 7 tries, 8 tries to kill, Hammerhead, because, for some reason that fight needs to have dudes coming out that have batons, automatic rifles, rockets, on top of a boss that has many abilities that are not dodgeable, like just takes away your whole dodge mechanic, So Hammerhead dashes at you and can dash around walls, which is what happened to me quite often. And then when you start hitting him, he peels backwards from you and then puts a line of, like, electric lava down, just like the shield dashing guys, So if you happen to hit square one extra time as he's about to dash backwards, you've now just stepped in that. Congratulations, you have no more gadgets for a little bit, And then when he charges up his ability, he either does, just like the minigun guy, this laser that shoots out, and you don't know if it's going to go upwards or if it's going to go right to left, and when it goes right to left, you're just getting hit. And I found quite often, pretty much every time I got hit by it, unless I'd use a pillar to block myself, which, in my opinion, if I have a frickin' dodge, if I have a roll, why am I using a pillar to block? Why are you taking away the best mechanic you have in the game? The fact that he is frickin' SpiderMan. He has Spidey sense. He's so fluid in his motions. He could jump around because he's got extra strength. He could jump around and flip over and, do all these different things. It makes it so hard to hit him because he's Spider-Man, which made so much sense that was his main ability, but you take away the whole usage of the best mechanic you have that makes this game feel way better than God of War and so many other games of the like, it just bewilders me that that's what you're using to make the game feel like there's more game here in the DLCs. Because if it was not for the fights being ludicrously hard, I probably would have finished all of the DLC in one night. And that is wrong. That is so wrong. Because people pay money for this. So now at this point, if there's Marvel Spider-Man 2, which, from what I hear is happening, I don't know if I'm going to buy the DLC. I think that the main game, I feel like they would keep up with what this is, because on top of it, they have the city already made. So it's not like they're remaking the assets for the city. Maybe they'll change it up a little bit, maybe add a few extra streets here and there. But what these game companies seem to do these days is they want to release every year. They want to maximize their profits. So they want to turn over every year and release a full game. So as time goes by, you're getting less and less content, because there's no way you can't keep up with a yearly release. There's no way you can make all the cutscenes and everything, so there will be less content, But they have the city already made, so pretty much what they have to do is make the side quest moments, like when you go inside a building, But most of the stuff that's outside that you fight in already exists on the map. So for Spider-Man 2, maybe they'll do some texture upgrades and everything, But it's really just going to be a continuation, I feel. And that'll be cool. So the main game, I can understand, will probably be enough game. But at this point, I really don't think I will be buying the DLC. And I am worried about the main game, whereas if the main game continues this fighting style, where you're just getting hit by characters. It's ludicrously hard, and they're taking away your ability to dodge, which then why do you even have it in the first place? It's also the main way to gain focus for me, so I can heal, which is the dodging. So when you got abilities in there that no matter what are doing damage to you, you're always fighting near death, pretty much. And then you're not getting the chance to then use finishing moves on the side characters to then build up your gadgets again, to then be able to use your gadgets to aid you in the fight, because you pretty much every single time you have some focus, you're healing. It's so badly done. It's so badly done. And I still have more to go. I had a call at night tonight. Like, I should be able to finish this DLC easy peasy tonight, and call it finished in, 13, 14 hours about, But I'm not going to be able to. I'm going to have to now wait to the next stream to be able to do that, which is ludicrous because you made it so hard. And I'm just, like, burned out. I don't even want to look at the game another second, And then on top of that, so all you're really doing in the DLC, from what I can see, if I didn't finish the landmarks, you'd have the landmarks because you want to show off the map you made. I understand that. You'd have the police fast travels, because there's a nice little mini game in doing that. And then you got, of course, the crimes, which really they're random spawn and stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure that was very easy to copy paste over and just use as filler, but really it's just a little mini game filler. And to be honest, in the heist, it was working great. Everything was fluid. Turf Wars, I started to notice the crime things weren't popping up. Like, they really weren't. Like, and I happily do them. Like, if you look at my DLC completion, the heist, 94%. Like, I happily do them. I don't really, like, skip them too often, And then Turf Wars, 79%. I wasn't purposely skipping them, really. They were just popping up a lot less. And now Silver Linings, 42%. And I don't think it's going to be anywhere near even what Turf Wars is. Because they literally, I went from the south side of Manhattan up to the north side, and not one crime popped up, pretty much. It just glitched out. And then at one point when doing one of, I can't even remember. The Taskmaster person of this game. I don't even remember her name. Because it got so annoying towards the end. Whatever her name is, one of the quests just glitched out, just froze. It was one of those ones where you got to use like 2 gadgets. It was the last one where you used the 2 gadgets, and it just froze. So as the DLC has been going on, it's even working worse and worse. You know, which really shows how much work was put into it over time. You know, now that we're on the third DLC, and it's like the game's breaking, quests are glitching. You know, even the timed press of that, new master person, whatever her name was. Um, Let me see if I can scroll up here. Let's see. I think it was mentioned in the chat what her name is. No. Okay, I don't have it anymore. But it really, her quests were just so frustrating, because now in this one, now you're getting the dudes with the shields that dash at you. You're getting the dudes with the freaking big minigun gigantic things. You're getting dudes with the batons. You're getting the dudes with the rockets. You getting, and then even later on, you getting dudes with freaking rocket packs that are flying in at you too. And then all of a sudden, a dude with freaking the chains, the laser chain things, grabbing you, whipping you to the ground. It's just too much. It's too much. That's just not dodgeable. It's like you're fighting against like this onslaught for what? Just to make it feel like the game's longer. Just so things will be so hard that it'll probably take you multiple tries to finish, unless you're the greatest player of the game, And I can't imagine, I don't even think I'm playing on hard. I don't know. I didn't see any, level settings or anything. But what just like a dismal experience now for Turf Wars and this whatever it is, and Silver Linings. What a horrible experience. The heist was amazing. The heist was great. Black Hat was awesome. Really liked the mission going around finding the artwork. It even had a nice little sub storyline to it where you find out about who the person is that's asking you for the artwork. It was so cool. And it was like little cutscenes with, audio, but like fun to listen to while I'm heading to the next thing. But it's really like you look for like 7-8 things, boom, you found it, you're done. Boom. Then you do the new Taskmaster person stuff, you get that done, yeah, you're done, Let's see if she's in here yet. Let's see. Nope. How is she not popping up in the list over here, though? She's the one character not popping up on the list over here. That's crazy. So they didn't even add her. Like, they didn't bother. I mean, you've got Hammerhead here. You've got Black Cat. You got all these other characters. Silver there. You got Yuri over there. But no. Who needs to see this one character that, was in every DLC and get any backstory about her, But, like, her quest, so you're doing those big fights, and then you're doing these, like, towards the end, you're doing these, like, chase missions where you're having to do all these specially timed things. Like, it just all felt like a chore and stopped feeling fun. Like, how did it stop feeling fun? How did you do that? How'd you take the fun out of, like, the greatest game from last year, for many years, for a long time? It's ludicrous. And then on to the story. So, the heist, I think, had a really interesting story with Black Cat. Are we working together? Do I have a kid? And, all this stuff. There are a lot of twists. So much enthralling storyline. Then you get into Turf Wars, and it's like, he's trying to take over the city. Okay. Nothing really enthralling about that. And that's when you should be going into like a, maybe a climax or a lull, going up. Like you gotta be building up towards the end of the game, And now that we're in this, and we've got Silver again, Lady Silver working with us, who I think is like one of the most bland characters I've ever experienced here, because she treats you like crap for really no reason. So there's no conversation with her. She's always trying to screw you over, and we're supposed to be building up to something. And then on top of that, with what they did with Yuri, now I was informed that in the comics and everything, she does become a villain, But why didn't that get expanded upon? Why wasn't all the DLC just the story of Yuri becoming a villain? Who cares about Hammerhead? I never even knew who the heck Hammerhead was, before this. I really didn't. I really don't get it. And he's become the crime boss of, Magia, which was Mafia. Another word for Mafia. But no, he's Russian. As an Italian American, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. As just an Italian American out there, he's a Russian guy taking over the Mafia. Whereas everyone's named Vinny as well. Whereas Vincenzo and Vinny is a very popular Italian name. But, he's Russian. His character makes sense. He's definitely the most worthless character in there. It should have been a story about Black Cat, you want to throw in Hammerhead, he shouldn't have been the main villain in the DLC. That second DLC should have been the build-up of Yuri and her going, bad. He's old school villain from the 80s and 90s, but went silent recently. So if 80s and 90s, that was when we needed to be fighting against Russia. So that's why he's Russian. That's why. That was in the Rocky days, when everything was, if there's bad guy, they were Russian, But just bland. Just so bland. There was really nothing interesting about him, There was no reason to be stopping. Like in the first DLC, you're stopping him because you think he has Black Cat's kid who might be your kid, So it's like, oh, snap. But you don't even fight him, really, in the first one. Like, barely. It's like you're fighting just, like, kind of waves of basic guys. But the story's so enthralling. You're like, oh, I have a reason to be doing this. Then you get into the second one. So, okay, now, Yuri's, going crazy because he's escalated, kinda. I mean, he's really doing stuff that's nowhere near as bad as what Doc Ock did in the main game or anyone else did in the main game. He's just pretty much doing thefts. But, this is enough to make Yuri, who's experienced everything from Doc Ock to everybody else in the main game, But now she's pushed over the top. Because this guy with some Sable tech, has made her go insane somehow. Because, he killed some cops. Because, she never experienced that before. In the main game. It's just all kind of just thrown together, lazy. This definitely, once you get Turf War and now this one, Silver Lining, I think it was. It's how much I don't care about it. It just, you could tell this is the B team writing this. I think the A team, while this stuff was being made, is working on the main game for Marvel Spider-Man 2. I think once this game was released, the A team for story, animations, and everything else got put on Marvel Spider-Man 2, and the DLC got all, like, the newer people working at the company, just like, hey, show us what you can do. If you make something good here, then we'll give you a bonus at the end of the year. That's what I think happened. That's what I think went on there. And you can really see. And on top of it, really, none of these characters, who cares about them? So it's like now we're in the third DLC, and it's such a letdown. But alright, I've talked too much about it. I've gone on too much. I want to say, though, like I said, I love the main game, so I'm sure a lot of people watching this that love this game are sitting here like, "Ooh, I was saying bad things about the game, and now I'm angry, and I'm gonna have to tell them in the chat and comment and all that. I'm gonna click dislike because I'm so angry." Every sentence felt like a punch to me because I love this game. I do love the main game of this. I think the main game of this, and even DLC The Heist, was great. Was amazing. I think the fighting in it is one of the most perfectly done, multi-target, fluid kind of fighting that's ever been done. I think it beats out Assassin's Creed. I think it beats out things like God of War, which are, in and of themselves, they really have done great things in this realm. So, before you start to say, like, oh, I think the game sucks, no, I think Turf Wars and I think Silver Lining sucks. And I think that I hope that the next game, and I hope that Insomniac runs away from whoever came up with the ideas for the fights in this as fast as humanly possible. Please don't bring that into the new game. Please. There's no need for it. Stick with the main game. If you want to innovate, maybe make more gadgets. Change up the gadgets if you want. Tinker with those. Maybe with the suit abilities, make crazier suit abilities. Just make things more epic. That's it. That's all you gotta do. Don't tinker with the enemies. They were fine before. The fighting was very fine before. And if you are going to tinker with them, maybe if you're going to have someone that dashes at you, don't have 4 of them pop up. That would be good. Or don't give them a shield. And then let them attack you with the shield. And, make it really hard to fight them. And while they're out, don't have a dude with a minigun pop out that is going to land the shots on you very easily and take out like half your health. And also make that undodgeable. And then while all those are out, don't have rocket launcher dudes out. Just, really make the game that's enjoyable and make the game that's an experience. Don't make the game that is Mount Everest. Because really what's great about the game is the story. And that's what we're experiencing. Some fun fighting, that makes you feel epic, and then some story. It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult to understand. So I hope you stick with that, and I hope everyone that's watching is not triggered too bad from my words about the game. It is just on Turf War and Silver Linings, and we can agree to disagree on that. I understand that people like it, and, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that will say, I like the complexity of it. I like it getting harder, and I understand your mentality. I do. I really do. That's just not mine, and everybody has different mentalities. I feel that both of our likes should be possibly in the game. And that should be in a hardness level, and, maybe this hardness should be the epic hardness, and what I'm talking about should be the normal hardness of the game. And I think that would be a perfectly good way for us all to exist together and enjoy this great game together. So it doesn't feel like I'm playing your game and paying $20 for it on top of the $60, and having no way of experiencing the game that I experienced from the main game. I don't know. But all right. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube if you want. On Twitch, comment, follow, and subscribe if you want to. I stream Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. We do playthroughs, and then we do reviews like this, where I ramble or rant and everything, and it changes over time. So that's why I do it every time I play. There will be a third one for this, the final review, when I get the chance to finish up Silver Lining on the next stream on Friday. So if you want, come on by, share your thoughts in the chat while I'm doing the review. Like, Nicole BR there helped me out here tonight and joined in. I appreciate it. But we will be back. So come on by. Golly gosh.
Like, comment, subscribe, and follow if you dare.